Hey guys, Jake Estrada here, Chief Marketing Officer of GainsCon Film Festival, CEO of Space Coast Comic Con, Director of Bocas and multiple other movies, comic book artist, publisher, teacher, and much more. So today, I want to talk about marketing and advertising and multimedia and social media. So we live in a world today that most people value their life based on social media. And they use that as a primary marketing tool to market themselves. And while that's good, there's also lots of different cons about that. And I can even show you that right now. If you go onto my Instagram page, I have something like 54,000 followers. I mean, when I talk about 54,000 followers, to be exact, and in some sense there. So when you want to look at those numbers, when you examine those numbers, that comes off great. And everyone's like, wow, how did you do that? That's how I did that, was basically making dumb videos. Making videos, showing my art, going around and pushing that and promoting that and talking about that to an extent, and people eventually follow me. But you also got to think about the negatives. The negatives about that is that a lot of those followers are all around the world. People in India, China, South Korea, the UK, Philadelphia, Texas, wherever you think, wherever people are at, wherever people have access to internet, that's where they're at. So while that's great and it looks good on paper, is it really a value? And I will say yes, and I will say no. The value comes with them potentially looking at your videos or your content that you're creating, and you might make a few cents on the dollar. While making a few cents on the dollar is great, that might take a year before you even net $100 based on that. Unless you have millions of followers who watch your content unrelentlessly over and over and over, and you're feeding the algorithm how to get there. Now, how do you feed the algorithm? There's a lot of different ways to feed the algorithm. You know, you create the content, people come in and they like it and they follow you and they see it and it happens really fast. Or you use hashtags, which most of us do. We use hashtags, and then this is what some people do. They pay for boosting. And there's all these different sites. I really say boosting is a terrible thing, because what happens, you're not really getting any money. You're paying all this money out just to boost a post, and you're getting people to come to it, but they're not retaining any of that info. They're not even staying there. They don't even stay there that long to even watch the whole video. They might watch 4 or 5 seconds of the video and then they just leave. And while it feels good, it's really bad. It doesn't really help. And it's really terrible on sites like TikTok to do that. And even YouTube. YouTube finds ways to weed people out that does that. And it diminishes your quality of the thing, and it's really a bad investment. I actually just say, just roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty by doing the actual work and finding out what people want to watch. And when you find what people want to watch, you start doing more of that, and you keep on tweaking it. And a lot of these sites actually have analytic tools that you can look and you can examine. Where do people stop looking at certain videos? When do they stop looking at certain videos? And when to tweak that and cut it down and edit it. And sometimes the dumbest videos get the most views. That's just it. You can work needlessly hours on a video and nobody watches it. You might get 10 follows, 10 views, 10 whatever. And meanwhile, you put a dumb video of you jumping on a pogo stick on kill like a goofy, and you might get 1 million views. And it's just the bottom line. You don't know what's gonna happen, and it just happens over and over and over. Even my good friend and brother and mentor, Chuck Fresh, has talked about this to an extent. And if he's watching this video, he'll understand what I'm saying. He probably wouldn't even agree with me. So again, all I gotta tell you, when you're feeding the algorithm, you got to change it up, and you got to keep on going, and you got to keep on working, and you got to keep on creating the content and keep on making this content so people can look at it. Like, I'm making this video and I'm going to put this video up, and I know the algorithm's going to eventually pick up on it, and I'll probably get a few views on it, and that's great. But I'm feeding the algorithm, I'm feeding my channels. And the idea to feed the channels is that I'm talking to you people out there trying to help you out. Another negative about social media is a false sense of safety. People think, oh, these people are my friends. They know me. And I just mentioned these people are all around the world, right? So how many people do you really know? Think about it. In your own circle around you, you might know, if you're married, you might know your wife, you might know your kids, you might have a best friend, you might have a few best friends, you might have a few good friends. But really, how many people do you really know? 10? 5? 4? Think about it. So don't get too caught up with those numbers above your profile pictures. Think about, how can you go outside that circle? How can you create this content that will appeal to your fan base? But also, don't be scared to break outside your box. I always say that, break outside your box, because look, there's no box that's gonna put me in a tight confines, but I don't fit in it. I'm too big. Just think about that. Jake Estrada is too big for a box. So next time, I'm gonna talk more about content and how to create content and what types of content that I create and that you should be creating. Because look, if you're an expert gardener, I say make a video about that. If you're building a house, talk about that and change it up. Have fun with it. In the end, the world is watching. But also remember, be nice and kind with one another. But that's all we want is kindness. And I love you guys. So talk to you soon. Jake.